At the Amsterdam conference a couple of years ago, I was advocating in 2020 that people should have crypto, have a bit of Bitcoin as part of their portfolio. All right, I know some of you were there years before me, I get that, but I've been consistent, and we're now taking that on. And Reform UK, the party that I'm leading, as of today, we are 9 points ahead in the opinion polls. We have Keir Starmer, our socialist Prime Minister, is terrified. Do you know, he mentioned me 16 times today in a speech. I'm living rent-free inside his head. I'm thrilled to be here today, but to announce that rather than just words, we have put together, and this is exclusive for today, the Crypto Assets and Digital Finance Bill.
Months of work, ladies and gentlemen.
We will campaign for this, and we'll put it in place when we win the next general election. And what we're saying is bring crypto and digital assets in from the cold. Have a capital gains rate of 10%. And that means, you know, if taxes are reasonable, people will pay them. We're going to have a Bitcoin digital reserve in the Bank of England. And we are going to pass legislation that says that no bank can close your account because you're trading in legal crypto or digital products.
No more debanking, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, we are taking it very, very seriously. And you know, it's really interesting. I mean, 7 million people in Britain have got crypto assets. 1 in 4 people under 30 have got crypto assets. And yet our outdated Labour and Conservative governments have done nothing in this space at all. And what I want to do when we win the next election is bring us into the 21st century. We are going to launch in Britain a crypto revolution. We're going to make London one of the major trading centres of the world. We're deadly serious, and here it is.
And again, he's been saying this since 2020. You have your own experience with being debanked, but we're going to get to that in just a moment. One of the things I want to ask, you know, we've seen a number of politicians on this stage from the United States, including the Vice President of the United States, speaking here today, bullish on Bitcoin, bullish on the crypto space. Is it this, you're seeing this happen in the United States, is this the impetus for you now saying we need to take action in the UK, we need to do something now?
I think what this administration has done to embrace this whole area, to give real oxygen and real energy to the whole digital world is nothing short of fantastic. And we, in my country, we tend to be a little bit behind. You know, America has all the new ideas. They take a few years to cross the pond, and you send us many good things. And what you're doing in this space right now through this administration is good. You also send us bad things, because you send us woke. But you know what? We've got you back, because we've sent you Prince Harry in return, all right?
Yeah. We appreciate that. Quite a personality. We appreciate it, Nigel. One of the things I want to touch on, you're obviously well known for the work that you did in initiating Brexit. Very, very impactful. You talk a lot about national sovereignty. Bitcoin is about individual sovereignty. Could you talk a little bit about the overlap here?
Well, I mean, I was, you know, in the early 90s, I saw the emergence of the European Union. I saw the emergence of these globalist structures that were designed to take away our democracy, to remove our ability to elect people who really influenced our law and hand them up to a sort of global bureaucracy. And so I fought against it, and it took me a quarter of a century to get Brexit, but we did it, we voted out, and you know something? If we were still in the European Union, this would not even be possible. So I believe in national sovereignty, but I also worry that government right across the Western world has got too big. It interferes and tries to control virtually every aspect of our lives. We've touched on the banking industry already, who in many cases have behaved appallingly. So I believe in individual sovereignty as well. And Bitcoin is the ultimate freedom from big government. So yeah, absolutely. I see the two as being absolutely consistent with each other.
When it comes to bureaucratic oversight, government surveillance, we have CBDCs coming down the pipeline. I think in the UK they call it what, Britcoin? They like to get cheeky over there in the UK, right? So Britcoin versus Bitcoin. So we're not fooled here very easily at the Bitcoin conference. Can we talk a little bit about the dangers of CBDCs and why it's so important that something like Bitcoin exists?
So the only thing the last Conservative government did in this space was to open up a department within our central bank, the Bank of England, to spend money getting us ready for a Bitcoin central bank digital currency. This would be the ultimate form of tyranny. And I can tell you, as I go around the country, people have woken up to what's going on here. And when we win the next election, there'll be a CBDC over my dead body.
We heard very similar rhetoric from Trump. I was actually not on this exact stage, but on the stage in Nashville in 2024. He understood that he didn't underestimate the audience. He didn't say, oh, I'm not going to talk about these things, these abstract things, CBDCs. I'm not going to underestimate them, and I'm not going to pretend like I know better. He listened to what was important to people. What has that process been like in the UK? And please talk a little bit about how the Reform Party is surprising people in the polls.
Well, I mean, 2 points there. The first is there has been, I think Rishi Sunak, when he was briefly Prime Minister, made one speech about the crypto space and about the fact that the City of London, used to be a global trading financial centre. One speech and then did nothing. The Labour government, we got 25 men and women in our cabinet. Not a single one has ever worked in private business. They don't even understand this space. So we are kind of, with a new political party, with the new kids on the block, we are anti-establishment, we are disruptors, and that's an important word, because when it's not working, it needs to be disrupted, and we're the only ones talking about this. But what will happen, I promise you, as a result of me being on this stage tonight with you, making this exclusive announcement, is there's now going to be a huge national debate. Why is government not doing this? And you know something? We got Brexit even though I wasn't in government, but I forced them into it. It may well be we'll get some of this done even before the next election. And in terms of your second comment, well, nothing like what has happened in the last year has ever happened in the history of our country before. I retired after Brexit back in 2020. I was doing TV with GBNews, coming to America. I've got a friend in America who's done very well, a chap called Donald. He's done ever so well.
Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I think you probably know him quite well. And I was retired, but I came back into politics because I just felt my country, I felt the whole Western world was losing its way. We'd forgotten the Judeo-Christian values upon which our civilization had been built. And, well, we have. And so I came back, it was June the 3rd last year. I said, right, I'm going to come back, I'm going to have another go at this, and I'm going to base the whole thing around the key principles of family, community, and country. They're the things that I care about, and I bet they're the things you care about as well. And here we are, today's opinion polls, we're 9 points ahead of Labour. And the Conservative Party, well, they're called Conservative, but they haven't governed as Conservative. Their support's falling off a cliff. So there is a genuine political revolution going on in Britain, and don't underestimate it. It is going to happen, believe me.
We appreciate that. As a member of parliament, we have this act now. I know the general election is, I think, a few years away, right? 2029. What does that roadmap look like to get there now? What other things would you like to see happen before that time?
So for us to win, we have to clear a series of hurdles. The first one was on May the 1st this year, when we had the English counties up for election, and we won it by a country mile. We came first by a country mile. Next year we've got elections for the Scottish and Welsh parliaments, devolved parliaments, and I believe we can win in Wales and probably come second in Scotland. So we have to keep clearing hurdles every year. We've built our party membership, we're building our credibility. So yeah, I mean, look, this is not going to be easy. The establishment are not going to give us an easy ride. I've no doubt there will be alternative CVs of me published. They'll say the most awful things about me. Trouble is, half of them will be true, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
I think, as Peter McCormack said, some of the things they say about you make you the fun person that you are.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm not in politics for a career. I'm in politics to make a change and make a difference. I'm a normal human being. I've got my good points, I've got my weaknesses. But what's wrong with that? Isn't that what we want? Don't we want politicians that are real and like us and live their lives? I've done many things over the years. You know, I worked for 20 years for American companies trading commodities. I worked for Drexel Burnham Lambert back in the 1980s, which some things good, some don't. You know, I've been a commodity trader, I've been a radio host, I've been a TV host, I've been in politics, I've been doing financial market newsletters. I've done many, many things. I've got a very broad experience, and frankly, I think I'm much better qualified than a bunch of Oxford-educated human rights lawyers to run the country.
And there's one thing I would add to that, if you don't mind. It's that you did travel around, you did talk to people, you did listen to people. Even when you drafted this, what you just shared with us earlier, you know, you spoke with people from the industry, you spoke with people familiar with policy, you're willing to listen, you're not saying that you know everything and that you're going to dictate from the top down.
Far from it, and we've been in touch. I mean, you know, the Bitcoin guys in the UK have been in touch, sending us stuff. I'm one of the few political figures, I genuinely go out and meet people. I'll be walking through the high streets in Scotland on Monday, and some people are rude. Well, fine, let them be rude, I don't care. But, and I always joke that the best place to meet people in Britain is go to the pub, because every pub is a parliament. People go into the pub for a drink and talk about life. So I think being a good listener is really, really important, and I think people underestimate Trump on this. Trump does actually listen to experts and what people have to say.
He does. So I was in the White House for the crypto summit, and we sat there, and there were lots of people from the industry there, and I know that he had consulted with people, as you just said, with Bitcoin Policy UK. We had the vice president giving a shout out to the Bitcoin Policy Institute. So we see a lot of this synergy, right? Listening to people who know better. I just have to ask you, this is a personal question actually, why is it so difficult for politicians to listen, right? Don't you want to represent the people, the underdogs, the people that aren't listened to as much? Doesn't that just seem like an obvious thing to do?
Oh, I think most people in politics think they know better than ordinary people, rather like the bureaucrats, rather like this whole globalist class who meet at Davos every year and seem to think they know how best we can run our own lives. And kind of what we're saying with Bitcoin, kind of what we're saying with all these things is, we will make our own decisions. We will have our own successes and our own failures, and the hell with you. We don't want you interfering with us in any way at all.
You came to viscerally understand how important Bitcoin is when you were personally debanked for very dubious reasons, not very hardcore reasons. There was no real good reason why they said you could no longer have access to your money in a bank account. Can you talk a little bit about how that's informed your passion for Bitcoin and digital assets?
Well, I mean, I am the highest profile case of debanking that's probably ever been seen in the United Kingdom. And it was, I've got to be honest, a very, very scary experience. Very scary experience. I went to 10 banks, all of whom refused me an account. It's kind of like they're trying to force me out of the country. But I fought back. I fought back publicly, and I won. I won. But I was able, through my media contacts and my profile, to have that fight and win it. Most folk aren't. I mean, even last year, in the United Kingdom, 400,000 people were debanked.
Primary reasons? What was the reason for this?
They don't have to give reasons. They don't have to give reasons. But one of the reasons is, say you transfer a bit of money into crypto.
Coinbase or a crypto exchange?
Oh, money going to Coinbase can be a reason for them closing down your account. That's why this legislation will make it illegal for any bank ever to do that to anybody ever again.
You can stand up. I see some people standing up. That's good.
Yeah, well, nobody.
That.
I mean, the thing about debanking was, as soon as I said I'd been debanked, other people stood up and said they'd been debanked too. They were too frightened to before. It was almost like coming out, saying I've been debanked. It's been a massive issue on both sides of the pond. And in America, political debanking has been going on now for years and years and years. It is absolutely disgusting. It plays no part in a free, open, democratic society. And no wonder so many people are going for Bitcoin and going for crypto, because they can't close you down, and that is the ultimate freedom.
Super important perspective. I want to rewind back a little bit to you going to pubs, talking with people. I remember watching videos of fishermen, hearing from fishermen in the UK and other people who are just working in smaller towns in the UK. Oftentimes I think sometimes you say the quiet part out loud. Sometimes people say these things, you're saying it out loud, and then maybe they're comfortable coming to you saying like, you know what, I actually agree with you, but I can't say that for this reason or the other. Can you talk a little bit about that if you don't mind?
Well, I think free speech is a vital element of living in an open democratic society. We fought world wars. We fought world wars so that we could agree to disagree. And the modern phenomenon that we've seen is, of course, cancellation. Not just I disagree with you, but I will do my best to close you down. And the extreme left have been very, very successful at this. And one of the problems has been, in this country too, conservative cowardice. That so-called conservatives haven't fought against it because they don't like nasty things being said about them on X or Facebook or whatever it may be. And there is a concern in my country that we now have two-tier justice, two-tier policing, led by our Prime Minister, two-tier Keir. And J.D. Vance, is genuinely worried about what is happening to free speech, what is happening to liberty in the United Kingdom. And frankly, I should be able to offend you.
I prefer it, actually, yeah.
Well, let's get started.
Let's go.
No, I should be able to offend you. I should be able to say things that you don't like, that you fundamentally disagree with. But it should be my God-given birthright to be able to do that without being closed down. And we have, in the UK, a major free speech problem. And I tell you what, the silent majority know that it's wrong. The silent majority want it corrected. We have a woman called Lucy Connolly who's been given a 31-month prison sentence for saying something unpleasant on social media in the wake of the horrific murders of 3 young girls in Southport. She should not be in prison, period. And while she's in prison, we're letting out on early release people who've convicted vile sexual attacks. We've got a two-tier country. Maybe that's part of the reason why Reform is doing so well in the polls right now. We've got to get back to the right values, back to the values of the forefathers that built our great countries.
Amazing, and just logic in general. I think we need to embrace logic again. If you become Prime Minister, what will realistically...
What do you mean if?
That's it, I apologize. When you become Prime Minister,
He's
ladies
so
and gentlemen,
negative,
my apologies.
isn't he?
Who put me up here? Why'd they have me do this? Anyway.
Sorry.
When you become Prime Minister, and hopefully we're here sitting on stage 4 years from now talking about how you're the Prime Minister of the UK, what is realistically in your power to do when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto assets? Now, I say that because we're seeing Trump, he signed an executive order on creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve, lots of other really progressive bills being put through the House and Senate right now. There's some friction, right? Senate Democrats are stopping a lot of the bills, even for stable coins, something that would benefit the United States. I'm not as familiar with the British system of government. I will familiarize myself with more now that we have you running for president to be prime minister in the next few years. But what is realistically in your power once you're in power?
What is in my power now is to change the whole debate. And my appearance with you on stage is going to spark a massive national debate. There are many people now live watching this in the United Kingdom. I'm sure the Labour and Conservative parties will say, oh dear, why didn't we think of that? So I think in the short term, we can change at least the national argument. I made the point already that 1 in 4 youngsters already has a crypto or digital asset of, and it's important to include those as well in this whole debate. In government, you have to have a majority in the House of Commons. You have to have a majority of MPs by winning the individual districts, constituencies. And once you've done that, you have a mandate, you can pretty much do within reason what you want. So, this isn't going to happen overnight. I wish the election was sooner than 2029, but it gives us a long time to build up the activist base, what I call the People's Army. The People's Army of folk who want real fundamental change. The People's Army who say, we want politicians not who just want to be Prime Minister or have a ministerial car, but actually want to affect real, genuine, radical change. And I'm a radical. I mean, I'm probably the most disliked human being by the political class in Britain that has been for over 100 years. And you know what? If they hate me, but increasingly the people love me, I reckon I'm in the right place.
Nigel, we're winding down. I just want to say thank you so much again for flying across the Atlantic to do this with us. But we were talking backstage about one last quite exciting announcement that you have to make. So I want to give you the floor to let the audience know what else you have.
Well, thank you. The other thing I'm going to announce tonight, which we've held back just for you, Frank, on this conference, is that as of now, provided you are an eligible UK donor, you can go to reformparty.uk, and as of now, we are the first political party in Britain who can accept donations in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So once again, we're being innovative. We're way behind you in America, but as of now, people with Bitcoin can give us money, provided they're eligible, and it's all part of what we are. And my message to the British public, my message particularly to young people, is help us to help you bring our country properly into the 21st century. Let's recognize that crypto, Bitcoin, digital assets are here to stay. And it's really funny because when I first advocated this 5 years ago, I had the Financial Times, the governor of the Bank of England, all saying the whole thing was a Ponzi scheme, you'd lose all your money. And it just goes to show the establishment nearly always, all through history, gets pretty much everything wrong. It's all about disruptors, it's all about innovators, it's all about freedom fighters. And I have to say, I might be here today before a predominantly American audience, but you know what, folks? We're all part of the same movement for individual freedom, for liberty, for being the masters of our own destiny. And I'm very, very proud and happy that you asked me to come. I've loved every minute of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a minute left. I think he deserves a standing applause for that time. So, Nigel, feel free to give him a last final word, but I think you said it perfectly there. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. A complete pleasure to have you here. We look forward to doing this again, hopefully the next few years, and also when he becomes the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I will come back.
I'll come back whether I'm Prime Minister or not. I will come back. I'll be here.
Give him a hand. We'll hold him up here. We got the champion here, Nigel Farage, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.